What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Kevin with Optimized Essentials, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about the best diet for NoFap, semen retention, and sexual transmutation. A lot of guys on my NoFap group or my sexual transmutation group ask me about, hey Kevin, what do you eat? What's the diet? Okay, I will be sharing with you the diet protocols that I follow. And then I'm also going to be talking to you about a diet that is prescribed by Sri Swami Sivananda, which is this guy right here, in his book, The Practice of Brahmacharya. Okay, so he is a Indian monk, I believe, or Indian Hindu, somewhere in the East Asia. Okay, if you're interested in becoming a brahmachari, or learning about brahmacharya, which is essentially, from what I've looked into, the practice of purity, of becoming more godlike, divinity, the path of the divine, right? Becoming, in essence, a vessel for divine light, monk mode, right? There's so many different definitions. Some people say it's celibacy and kind of abstinence. But depending on who you go to, depending on who you read, there's going to be a different definition. So I'm going to be going over 3 slides that talk about the influence of food and what foods are good for this path. And then I'm going to tie it in at the end with my personal experience, my personal take when it comes down to diet. Okay. Now, this is coming from someone who's done 13 months of NoFap and semen retention. My first time, 11 months, my second time, 11 months again, my third time. So I've experimented with what works for me. I'm also going to read to you from someone who's doing it as a strict brahmachari, meaning a strict monk who's done it maybe 20, 30, 40 plus years of his life. So you can kind of weigh and figure out, okay, who do I want to follow, right? Who do I want to exemplify? What do I want to do? Do I want to be super strict, or do you want to be kind of like leisure and, still have some fun, right? Now, before I get into this, I ask that you stay till the end, because some of the text in his language is kind of hard to read, or it's like you can kind of get zoned out. So do your best to focus, watch this at normal speed. Don't be a little bitch, and let's get right into it. Okay, so this is chapter 18 in his book, The Role of Diet in Sex Control. Diet plays a prominent part in keeping up brahmacharya. Purity of food brings in purity of mind. That which connects the body and the mind is present in the food that we take. Various kinds of food have varying effects on the mind. There are certain kinds of food that make the mind and body very strong and steady. So it is absolutely essential that we should take pure and sattvic foods, food that has a very close connection with brahmacharya. If proper attention is given to the purity of food that we take, brahmacharya becomes quite easy. The influence of foodstuff on the brain cells, emotion, and passion is remarkable. There are different compartments in the brain, and each food produces its own effect on each compartment and on the general system. A confection of sparrow produces an aphrodisiac effect. Now, I'm not sure what he means by confection of sparrow. Maybe like bone broth or something. It directly stimulates the reproductive organs. Garlic, onions, meat, fish, and eggs stimulate passion. Mark how elephants and cows that live on grass are quite quiet and peaceful, and how tigers and other carnivorous animals that live on meat are turbulent and ferocious. Instinct, or the voice from within, will guide you in the selection of the articles of the diet that are conducive to the keeping up of brahmacharya. You can also consult some elderly and experienced persons. Now, before we go into this, I want to break this down a little bit. I agree completely with what he says here. Purity of food brings in purity of mind. Meaning, there are certain foods that you eat that will have different effects on your mood, on your hormones, on the way you think, ironically. And the more pure your food is, the more pure your vibration is. If your vibration is all out of whack because you're eating a bunch of junk food or a bunch of fast food or a bunch of shit that's like inflaming your body and it's causing you to have like unstable moods, well, this is why. People don't realize food is information, right? Like I'm drinking coffee right now. Coffee is causing my brain, my body to act in a certain way. Okay. And then certain foods, certain vegetables, they will have certain cooling effects, heating effects on your body. So when you realize that saying food is medicine, let thy food be your medicine and medicine be thy food, this is very true. What you put into your body signals your body to do certain things. That's why vegans and vegetarians look and behave they do. And that's why carnivores look and behave the way they do. It's very simple, yet profound. Okay, so let's go on. What is Satvik food, by the way? Satvik food can be loosely categorized as most fresh fruits and vegetables, most whole grains, legumes, and nuts. So what he recommends is eating a Satvik diet. Okay, Shiru Havis Anam. I had no idea what the fuck this was, so I had to look it up. And it was basically like ghee, sugar, and milk mixed together when it comes down to Indian food. Okay. As in, this is like Indian porridge. So Shiru, Havis, Anam, milk, wheat, barley, bread, ghee, butter, dry ginger, green gram, potatoes, dates, plantains, curd, almonds, and fruits are all Sattvic articles of food. Shiri is a mixture of boiled rice, ghee, white sugar, milk. Oh, there we go. Havis Anam is also similar preparation. Oh, there we go. This is very useful for spiritual aspirants. Milk is a perfect food by itself, containing as it does the different nutritive constituents in a well-balanced proportion. I disagree, by the way. This is an ideal food for yogins and brahmacharyans. Fruits are great energy producers. Bananas, grapes, sweet oranges, apples, pomegranates, and mangoes are wholesome and nutritious. Dry fruits such as grapes, raisins, dates, figs, fresh fruits such as bananas, mangoes, sapotas, no idea what that is, melons, limes, pineapples, apples, wood apples, and sweet pomegranates, sugar and sugar candy, honey, sago, arrowroot, milk, butter, and ghee of cows, tender coconut water, coconut, almonds, pistachios, nuts, tur dal, which I think is a lentil, ragi, barley, maize, wheat, rice of red paddy, whose bran is only partly removed, and a rice of good smell or sweet taste. And all preparations from any of these grains and white pumpkin are Sattvic articles for keeping up brahmacharya. Okay, now, first and foremost, I don't really agree fully with this list. You have to understand that the food that they ate in India that were produced by their cows and whatnot, the milk and the ghee, is different from the milk and the sugar and the grains and the stuff that we get today, okay? Wheat is by far the most cheaply produced grain that we have in the West. This shit is probably GMO'd and pesticide and sprayed with a fuck ton of chemicals. Milk that they feed, cows that they feed wheat and grains is same shit. If you drink the milk from a conventionally raised cow that has been ingesting vegetarian feed or grain, I believe they even give like canola to these cows, right? To fatten them up. So these cows that are eating GMO feed that is sprayed with pesticides are producing low quality milk that you are then drinking. So if you're buying conventionally raised milk or modern day milk and you're eating wheat, well, you're setting yourself up for GI inflammation, gastrointestinal inflammation, GI inflammation. Okay, meaning your gut will get bloated. You'll have problems with your digestive system because you're eating shit that is not organic. So the stuff he's recommending here, right? The fruits are great, right? But if they're non-organic, they're GMO'd or they're pesticide, then you are poisoning your body. So this food is good potentially if it's pure, right? But you have to understand, who wants to eat like this, right? This is very like vegan, vegetarian, and fructarian, okay? Which I guess if you're trying to be a strict brahmachari, then this is the way to go. But let's continue. So forbidden foods, this is what he says you should not eat if you want to be a strict brahmacharya. Highly seasoned dishes, hot curries, chutneys, chilies, meat, fish, eggs, tobacco, liquor, sour articles, oil of all kinds, garlic, onions, bitter things, sour chord, stale foods, acids, astringents, pungent stuffs, roasted things, overripe and unripe fruits, heavy vegetables, and salt are not at all beneficial. Onions and garlic are worse than meat. Whoa, I agree. I disagree. Salt is the worst enemy. Too much salt excites passion. Even if you do not take salt separately, the system will derive the necessary quantity of salt from other foodstuff. All foodstuff contains salt. Giving up salt helps you in controlling the tongue and thereby the mind and all other indriyas. All kinds of peas and beans, both fresh and fried, black and grain, Bengal gram, horse gram, sprouted grains, mustard, all sorts of chilies, asafoetida, lentils, brinjals, no idea what these are, ladies' fingers, cucumbers, Malabar nightshades, both white and red, bamboo shoots, papa fruit, drumsticks, all kinds of gourd such as white gourd, snake gourd, and squash gourd, radish, leeks, mushrooms of all kinds, things fried in oil or ghee, pickles of all sorts, fried rice, sesame seeds, tea, coffee, oh shit, I'm drinking coffee, coca, all kinds of vegetables, leaves, roots, fruits, and foodstuffs that create wind or indigestion, grief, pain, or constiveness or other sickness, pastry preparations, foodstuff that are dry and burning, foods that are bitter, sour, saline, over hot, and pungent, tobacco and its preparation, foods and drinks containing liquor or narcotic drugs such as opium or bhang, food preparations which are stale or have become cold subsequent to their removal from the hearth, or which have lost their natural state, smell, color, or form, which are remnants after being eaten away by other persons, animals, birds, or which contain dust, hair, straw, rubbish, and milk of buffalo, goat, or sheep should be avoided as they are either rajastic or tamastic by nature. Lemon juice, rock salt, ginger, white pepper can be used in moderation. Jesus, okay, this is what I mean by, it's a pain in the ass to read all this stuff, okay? So I'm glad you're still sticking with me if you haven't left already. But look, how many of this stuff have you eaten? How much of this stuff do you want to give up? For me, I've eaten at least half of the shit on this list. The other half, I have no idea what the fuck it is. I've eaten half of this stuff while I was on semen retention NoFap. I had no problems with it. So do you want to forbid these foods, or do you want to like not have these foods in your diet? Not me, okay? Now, this is the last slide, but I'm going to try not to read all of it because this is too much. I just want to go over what I think about what's going on. Okay, so basically what he's saying here is, see, mitahara is moderation in food, meaning you shouldn't overdo it, right? They should be very careful, right? Okay, let's just read the first part. Mitahara is moderation in food. Take wholesome sattvic food, half stomach full. Fill a quarter of pure water, allow the remaining part free. This is mitahara. Brahmacharyans should always take mitahara only. They should be very careful about their night diet. They should never overload the stomach at night. Overloading is the direct cause for nocturnal emissions, meaning if you're too full, if your stomach is way too filled with shit, then you're going to have a wet dream, okay? A glutton cannot dream of becoming a brahmachari. Control of tongue is sine qua non if you want to control lust, if you want to observe the vow of brahmacharya. The tongue must be controlled first. Then it'll be easy to control passion. That's a good one. There is an intimate connection between the tongue and the organ of generation. Tongue is the organ of knowledge. It is born of sattvic portion of the water tanmatra. The organ of generation is organ of action. Okay, let's see if we're missing anything else. There should be selection of restriction in diet. The food of brahmacharya must be simple, bland, spiceless, non-irritating, and non-stimulating. Moderation in food is very necessary. Stuffing the stomach is highly deleterious. Fruits are highly beneficial. You should only take food when you're really hungry. The stomach will deceive you. Sometimes you may have false hunger. Okay, so essentially what he's saying is if you want to observe strict brahmacharya, you need to observe strict regulation of your diet. You need foods that are plain, simple, and not super spicy, not super saucy, nothing that spices up your organs or causes your organs to like go crazy. How do you feel after listening to this, okay? I'm not hating on it. I'm saying if you're becoming a monk, then having a strict diet is very important because I agree with the fact that food will influence the way you feel. It will influence your organs. And if you don't regulate it, it'll be pretty out of hand. You know, you will have wet dreams. I've had problems with wet dreams before when I've eaten too much at night, right? But at the same time do you want to live a life of restriction, or do you want to live a life where you can enjoy some of this? Because I've had onions. I eat onions and garlic pretty much every day, right? Or not every day, but for most of my meals, whenever I want to give it some flavor. And I don't have crazy erotic sexual energy. My sexual energy is flowing. My hormones are good. Okay. So what diet to follow? Well, look at this slide. Who do you want to look like? This is the guy recommending, right, what you should eat. It's got some man boobs going on. Or do you want to look like me? Right? I'm not on juice or anything or I'm a natural dude. Look what happened. This was me before China this year. And just 15 days later of eating shitty food, I turned into this puff monkey. And then a month later, I slimmed back down. But I'm sharing this with you because, look, guys, I've been on semen retention, NoFap, sexual transmutation since not as long as this guy for sure, but for 5-6 years. Okay. And I understand that if you want to feel at your best, you need to listen to your body and let it guide you in terms of what foods to put in and what foods to not ingest. Because if you listen to your body will let you know what feels good, what doesn't feel good. A lot of the food that he says is forbidden on his stuff that I've eaten, I've had no problems with. So I'm not going to listen to, even though he's a Brahmacharya who probably did 20, 30, 40 plus years of strict monk mode, but I'm going to listen to my body. And I'm going to let my body guide me to what I enjoy and what I feel, what I like eating and what makes me feel best. Are there foods that excite your sexual energy? Yes, like eggs. Eggs will amp up your hormones, your testosterone, cause you to have a higher sex drive. Certain foods like chocolate will also do that too, right? But this is through experimenting. There are certain foods that will drive up your sexual energy, your passion, your drive. But this is up to you to experiment and look into, right? So if you want to look like this guy and be a strict monk, then listen to what he's saying. If you want to look like me, then listen to what I'm saying, okay? Now, before we continue, if you haven't already checked out my program, Sexual Manifestation, where I talk about how to transmute sexual energy, I teach you like ancient breathing techniques to circulate your sexual energy and overcome your sexual desires. I put a lot of effort into this program, so check that out. It will be the best investment that you'll make in your life. Shameless plug, because if you're struggling with NoFap and semen retention and you're having sexual urges that you can't control and you don't know what diet to follow, what diet to eat, well, I break it down completely in my program, so make sure you check that out. But I'm going to talk to you about vegan or carnivore, right? What works best? Should you be a vegan and vegetarian, or should you eat carnivore? Which one's better? Have you tried it? Have you tried vegan? Have you tried carnivore? I've done a little bit of both. Okay. Vegan and vegetarian works great until it doesn't. The problems a lot of vegans and vegetarians face on this path down the line is they eventually get malnourished. They eventually start to look skinny as fuck. Their hormones go down the hill, down the drain. They look depleted. Their body is always tired. They're always hungry, right? That's because you don't have adequate amounts of nutrients on board. So vegan and vegetarian will work great for maybe a few weeks, few months, maybe years, until your body starts to break down. Now, there's going to be a lot of vegans and vegetarians maybe watching this like, oh my God, no, it's like we were born to eat meat, or we were born to eat vegetables, or like we're herbivores and stuff like that. And they'll find all kinds of research. And it's like, okay, sure. Keep doing what you're doing and let me know how you feel 5 years down the line. There are some vegans and vegetarians that can do it, okay? That maintain it very well for multiple years on end. But if I had to bet money on it, if I had to put my life on it, I would guarantee you that maybe 80%, 90% of vegetarians and vegans, they're going to fuck up down their body is going to start to break down the line. They're going to age prematurely because they don't have like cholesterol, high quality animal fats in their mood that protects their brain, their myelin sheath, right? That protects their hormones. You can't get certain nutrients in meat and vegetables. There's just no fucking way, and vice versa, right? Even though carnivores believe that you can only like meat covers all the basis from vegetables? I disagree. There are certain things in vegetables you can't get in meat. There are certain things in meat you cannot get in vegetables. The best way to go about it is to combine both. Because if you only eat meat, only eat these products, you're going to get super dense, bulky, hormones supercharged, but you're not going to have the cleansing effect of vegetarian and veganism, right? If you only did cleansing, pure diet, long enough timeline, you're going to be skinny. You're going to be skinny fat like that monk. And you're just not going to have that same type of masculine vigor and vitality, okay? There is not many vegans and vegetarians that exemplify raw aggression. And that comes from eating meat because there's fat, cholesterol in here, which is the primary building block of your hormones. Your testosterone is based upon cholesterol. Cholesterol is based upon fat, animal fat. You're not going to find high quality cholesterol. There's going to be some fat in fruits and vegetables, not fruits, but like vegetables. But I'm telling you, it's not the same. It is not the same. Eating a piece of organ is not going to be the same as eating an avocado. I guarantee you, okay? You don't have to take my word for it. Experiment on your own, right? I've done this multiple times to know that my body works best if I'm eating mostly vegan and vegetarian to clean things out. But when I'm working out and lifting heavy, I want to have some meat in my diet. So I combine both, principles of both, right? I pick out the best of both worlds. I mash it all together. So I have the ultimate 2-1 combo. I have the cleansing effect and the high vibration of vegetables. And I also have the dense muscle building protein effect, protein and hormonal effect of the animal fats. If you go to either one of the spectrum, I think you're making a mistake. Maybe some people need to go strict carnivore for a while to clean up their autoimmune, or maybe some people need to go strict vegan or vegetarian for a while to clean up the shit that they've been poisoning themselves with, right? But once you've balanced yourself out, it's not a smart idea to stay there. You want to combine both and you want to do a bit of both whenever it's possible. Sometimes more vegan, vegetarian, sometimes more carnivore, depending on what you do, depending on where you're living, depending on what your goals are, okay? Now, before we conclude this video, again, check out my program. You will not be disappointed. I teach you exactly what to follow, what diets are best for sexual transmutation. Not just that, but right, the 6 pillars of supreme sexual energy, what to do to boost your hormones to the highest degree, what foods to eat, how to train, breath work so that you can circulate sexual energy, training your masculinity. There's so much in that program, okay? If you're like, I want to learn, I want to check out some stuff for free, well, get the free part of my program. You can read that. You can watch that. I made the video course for it recently. You can check that out. The other aspect is you can check out the masterclass, join the Facebook group. Just check out the links down below. And I promise you guys, you're going to have a wonderful time reading that stuff. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, drop the comments down below. Have a good one. Peace.